Welcome guys, welcome to the day one of the Selenium RC training. So today we're gonna start with Selenium RC. We have already seen what is the difference in Selenium RC, ID and WebDriver. Like ID was initially designed for record and play, and RC was a previous version of Selenium which ThoughtWorks company came up with, and they've given this a name as Selenium Remote Control. And we've already discussed the architecture of Selenium. So if you go to my website waytoautomation.com, if you go to this blog section and click on this Selenium RC, so I've clearly defined how Selenium RC works. So Selenium RC injects JavaScript to execute the test, and this is the architecture of the Selenium RC which I have defined over here. And so there are some prerequisites before we can proceed with our test on Selenium RC. That is that we need to have Firefox on our machine. Now which version of Firefox we need to have? Current latest version is 23, but the version that we need, that Selenium RC supports, is up till the version 10. So you need to have a previous version of Firefox in case you want to work with Selenium RC, because Selenium RC is now deprecated, right? So we are just learning Selenium RC to set up our base for automation. Rest, our focus will only be WebDriver. So there are some prerequisites. If you see on my machine, I have the Firefox, the latest, the very old version, that is 3.6.28. Well, actually I have installed this because this version is compatible with Selenium RC, and I'm able to execute all my WebDriver tests as well on this version. So after installing Firefox, we need to make sure that we have Java on our system. So to make sure you have Java installed on your machine, you can go to command prompt and just type Java -version and press enter, and you'll get the version of Java. I have 1.6. You can download the latest one, that is 1.7. Now where to get Java? You can go to Google and just type download Java, and you can click over here. So this is Java is absolutely free of cost. You can click on this, you'll get an installer. So installing Java is like you're installing any other software. You just need to double click on that installer and the Java will be installed. So once Java is installed, you will get a folder like this. If you go to your program files, you'll get a Java folder over here. If you take a look over here, okay, just one second. So over here you'll get a Java folder. So these folders you'll get once you install Java on your machine. So what you need to do, you need to copy the path of this folder and you need to configure your Java environment variables. So how to configure those variables? You'll just right click on, you'll go to this start button and right click on computers, go to properties and click on advanced system settings, then go to environment variables, and over here you need to create a new variable with the name Java home. So you click over here, you give a variable name as Java_home, and then here you need to give this path like I have already given it over here. Then what you need to do, you need to go to the path variable, and at the very end you just need to put a semicolon and you need to say %Java_home % and then slash, and you need to give the path up till the bin folder. So if you take a look at this folder, there is a bin folder. You need to give a path up till this folder. So once you give this path and click on OK, your Java will be configured on your machine. And after configuring Java, the next prerequisite is that you need some editor where you can write the Java code. Now the editor, earlier we used to write Java code in Eclipse. So these days, I mean, every Java developer is, most of the Java developers are using Eclipse. So even here as well, we will be using Eclipse for writing Java code. So which version of Eclipse to download and where to get it? You can go to Google and type download Eclipse. And again, you'll go to this website. And here you need to download this version of Eclipse, that is Eclipse IDE for Java EE developer. That is the latest version, Eclipse Kepler 4.3, and you can download based on your Windows configuration. If it is Windows 32-bit, you need to download 32-bit. If it is 64-bit, you need to download 64-bit. Right. So once the Eclipse is downloaded, you can store it in your machine, on your local machine. So it will come something like this. I have stored it in C drive softwares, and this is the Eclipse. I have the previous version downloaded, so you can download it, the latest version. I have Eclipse Juno. So once you extract it, it will come like this. There will be a folder that is Eclipse Juno, and this is the application file that you will get. Now in this application file there is nothing installable. You just need to double click on Eclipse and your Eclipse will be launched. So once Eclipse is launched, once you double click on it, you'll get the very first window as your workspace. Now workspace is the location where you will be maintaining your current project, where you will be keeping your code, and you need to give this workspace as some name. Let's say I'll give the workspace name as Selenium, let's say remote control. So I'll give it the name as remote control. Since I am going to work on RC, you can give any workspace name over here. Basically a folder with the name remote control will be created on this this directory, and every code that we're gonna write it inside Eclipse will be going to stored at that workspace. Right. So if you manually want to take a look, you can go over here, C drive Selenium, and you can search for your workspace. The workspace you will get, we have stored it with the name of remote control, and this is our workspace, right? So this workspace is right now empty. This is because we haven't added anything. So now if you go to Eclipse, so this is the welcome screen that you will get. Just close this screen, and this is the plain area that you will get. Here you will be maintaining all your project hierarchy. Here you will be writing your code, and this is for the output. So very first thing you need to do is to create a new project. That would be a Java project, since we are working on Selenium with Java. So I'll click on next and give some project name. I'll give the project name as test remote control. So you can give any name to this project and click on finish, and then click on no. So if you take a look at this folder, see a folder with the name test remote control has been created onto your workspace. And if you double click on this, you'll find this source folder over here as well as the bin folder. Basically source folder will gonna keep all the Java classes that you will gonna create, and bin folder will gonna create the classes that you will compile. After that it will generate a .class file. So bin folder will gonna contain those .class files, and these two files are for Eclipse to understand that this is a Java project. So very first thing, you can see over here the Java jars are by default added to this Java project. So this is done by Eclipse. So now you right click on the source folder, click on new, and click on a class to add a new class, and give the name of this class as, let's say, test RC day 1, or you can say RC day 1, right? And check this main method. So why I am checking this main method, this is because we haven't implemented JUnit or TestNG so far in our project. So in order to execute our test case in a sequence, we need some Java framework, and that would be JUnit and TestNG. So once we learn them, after that we can add some annotation. JUnit or TestNG contains some annotations which defines the sequence of how your test cases will be executed. So if you go to my website, you will find that I've already covered JUnit and TestNG over here, so you can go through these tutorials, and once you're familiar with how Selenium RC and WebDriver works, then you can go to JUnit and TestNG tutorials. So you will be very much familiar with these frameworks, that how these framework works and how you can generate reports and add annotations using these frameworks. So before this, we're gonna start with Selenium RC first. So I've created a main class over here, and inside my main class I need to call Selenium RC. So before calling Selenium RC, the next prerequisite that we need to follow is that we need to download and configure Selenium in our Eclipse. So we need the Selenium API where I can get the RC file. I'll go to the main website of seleniumhq.org, and I'll go to the download section. On this download section, you can see that this is the Selenium server, basically Selenium RC server. This is the jar file that we need to work on Selenium RC. So you just click on this and it will be downloaded. So once I have already downloaded it. So once it is downloaded, I have stored it inside a jar folder. So this is a single file that you will gonna get, that is Selenium server standalone file. Now there is nothing installable in Eclipse. You cannot double click on this file and it will get installed. It's nothing like that. You need to configure this file inside your Java project. And what this file contains all the classes and methods that are implemented in the Selenium API. So if you want to take a look at what all methods are implemented inside this, so you can go to the Java doc associated over here. You click on this Java doc and you will you'll search for the interface Selenium. So this is interface Selenium. Interface is always in italic and rest are the classes. So earlier the class we use with Selenium RC is the Selenium test case class, but this is a very old class which got deprecated a long time back. Although Selenium RC is also deprecated, but I mean this is a very old class which people used to access when working with Selenium RC. But later on, I mean they have developed another class, that is the default Selenium class. So this default Selenium class implements the interface Selenium, so which means that whatever methods that are defined in the default Selenium class are also present in the interface Selenium, but as an abstract methods, right? So why interface is required, we have already discussed in the Java tutorials. So if you are still not aware of what interface is, what a class is, you can just go through the Java tutorials and can clear all these concepts, right? So basically interface is used to support multiple inheritance, although you will not gonna see much of the multiple inheritance example in Selenium RC, because here we are only going to work with one class, that is the default Selenium class. But when you switch on to WebDriver is completely object oriented. So for each browser you are gonna find a different class associated. So here here the interface WebDriver will gonna help in switching between the browsers. So here just to support the multiple inheritance, Java provides the concept of WebDriver, so that we're gonna use it over here. But in Selenium interface we just gonna create a reference of this interface and we're gonna assign it to the default Selenium class. So how we gonna do it? Let's go to our project that we have created. I'll right click on my project and go to build path and then click on configure build path. First of all, I need to import the Selenium server jar file that we have downloaded. So I'll click on libraries and then click on add external jars, and here I'm gonna select this jar file, Selenium server standalone, and click on open, and then I'll click on OK, and this will be added to my project. Now what I am going to do is that I just copy this Selenium interface over here and will paste it over here like this, right? And I'll just create a reference variable. I can give any name to this reference variable. Let's say I give the name as Selenium with S in small letter. If I give it in capital letter, then it will be an interface. So I can give this any name. I can give this ABCD or any name, but I should be giving some meaningful name, so I have given it as Selenium. And then I'll create an object of default Selenium class so that I can access the methods defined in this class. Now what all methods are defined in this class? If you click on this class, you're gonna see the entire list of methods that are defined inside this class. So the method, you can see attach file, you can see capture screenshot, you can see check, click add, close, double click. I mean, these are all the methods that we're going to use in order to automate our web-based application. So to access these methods, you need to create an object of this class. And now, I mean, you can see there are some errors in our program. This is because we need to add the header files as well. So in case we are writing a Java code in Notepad, then we used to write something like this: import java dot util.star, right? So we used to write like this, but with the help of Eclipse, our coding becomes so easy. I mean, I just take my mouse over here and I'll get an option, import Selenium from com.thoughtworks.com. So this is the package where the Selenium interface exists. So I'll just click on this and this line will be added over here. Same way, if I need to add the default Selenium class, I'll just click on this and the default Selenium is also added from this package, right? And we are getting these options because we have this jar file in our project. If I don't have this jar file, then we will not going to get this option, because this package exists inside this jar file. So if you expand this jar file, you can see that com.thoughtworks.selenium, you can search for com.thoughtworks.selenium over here, and over here you can see this default Selenium class and the Selenium interface over here, right? So this is where like you can search for what all classes are present and what all packages are present inside this jar file, right? So now what I need to do, I mean, if you can see there are still some errors in our code. This is because, I mean, let's say if I take my mouse over here, it is saying that there is a constructor default Selenium that is undefined. So we need to define this 4-argument constructor. Now what exactly is a constructor? So constructor as well we have discussed in our Java tutorials. So constructor is basically, it's like a method, but it's not actually a method. It has a same name as of a class name. So if the class name is default Selenium, then there is a constructor as well with the same name. And we do not need to call the constructor like we call method. We call method by using object name dot method name. The constructor is called automatically as soon as we create an object of the class. So if we have created the object of the default Selenium class, the very first thing that is called is the constructor of this class. Now if you want to take a look what constructor it is, then you can go to this constructor summary, and this is the four argument constructor that default Selenium provides. The very first argument is your server host. So you'll give the server host over here, like you will be starting your Selenium server. So I mean the jar file that we have downloaded, in order we have already discussed that in order to work with Selenium RC we need a standalone server to be started on our machine, because the architecture of Selenium RC says that Selenium RC injects JavaScript onto your browser in order to locate elements. So to support that JavaScript we need to start the Selenium standalone server. So we need to give the server host, like let's say we are starting the server on a local machine, so the host will be localhost. And then we need some port, the port on which the server will be started. By default Selenium server will be started on the port 4444. And then we need the browser on which we want to open our website. So let's say Selenium RC has a by default support on Firefox. Initially it was built for Firefox only, and then they added more browsers like IE, Chrome, Opera, Safari, and there are a list of browsers that you can see implemented in Selenium RC. So I'll show you how you can get that list. So how you can write the browser name, you need to append it with star, then Firefox. Or in case you need to work on IE, then star IE Explorer. Or in case you need to work on Chrome, then it should be star Google Chrome, right? But to work on IE or Chrome you need to make some tweaks, but you can directly work on Firefox, because IE does not allow JavaScript to be injected onto its browser. So you need to remove all the security parameters from IE in order to execute Selenium RC code. Although WebDriver has a very good support on IE and Chrome, so that we're gonna see when we learn WebDriver. So we're gonna see how to perform the browser compatibility testing over there, how we can execute our Selenium code in IE and Chrome and Firefox and all of available browsers that WebDriver supports, right? So the fourth argument is the browser URL. So browser URL should be HTTP. Let's say if I'm going to gmail.com, so it should be http gmail.com. And now I can access the methods available in the default Selenium class using this variable Selenium. So I can say Selenium dot, and the very first method that I need to access is Selenium dot start. Now what this start method will do, so you have the answer to this over here. We will search for the start method over here. So the start method, let's say where is the start method? Okay, the start method, it launches the browser with a new Selenium session, right? So I'll just save it and run this. As soon as I run this, I will gonna get an error. Now what this error is, you're gonna get all the messages along in the console. So it says that could not contact Selenium server, have you started it on localhost 4444. So as I said, in order to execute this code we need to have Selenium server started on our machine. Now how to start the Selenium server? I'll go to command prompt, and on command prompt I'll go to the directory where I have downloaded the jar file. So I'll go to cd softwares jars, and here I'll type java -jar, and I'll give the name of the jar file that I have downloaded, that is this. And as soon as I press enter, the Selenium server will be started, and by default it is started on the port 4444. Now I can also change this port. Sometime what happens, let's say if this port is busy, then you will not be able to start the server on this port. So you can say this -port, let's say 1234, and press enter. Now you can see the server is started on the port 1234, and same thing you can give it over here as well, 1234, right? So let's start it on the default port for the time being since it is available. So I'll just close it and then start it. Oops, sorry. right? Now what I'm gonna do, I'll just save it, and as soon as I run it, there will be two windows that will be launched. Sometime you get this error. This is with Selenium RC only. It says that close all the Firefox, so don't worry about this error. Just run this again, and it will gonna launch these two windows. So first one is your remote control window. This will just gonna maintain the command history, the history of command that you will gonna execute, and this is your main window in which your selenium.com your gmail.com application will be launched that you have given over here. But right now Gmail is not launched yet, right? So how can we launch Gmail? We have used selenium.start, and what start does is it only launches the browser with a new Selenium session. It is not responsible for opening your website. In order to open your website, you have another method that is open, right? It opens an URL in the test frame. So you need to call this method. So for that you will say selenium dot open, right? And in the argument you just need to pass on the backslash. Now why only this backslash? This is because this accepts the base URL, and if you have any further URL like any second page URL abcd.php, then this URL should not be present over here. This should be present in the open argument. An open argument only accepts the URL after the base URL, right? So we are just navigating to gmail.com. That is the reason I have just added a backslash over here. I'll just save it and run this again. Now after running this, it will again gonna open two windows, and this time it has navigated to gmail.com, right? So you can see it is navigating to gmail.com, but again the window is not yet maximized. So if you manually click over here, the window get maximized, and it has gone to gmail.com, right? So how to maximize the window? Again we need to call another method, that is selenium.window maximize, and then selenium.window focus. So if you go over here, you can see the method window maximize. It resize current selected window to take up to the entire screen, and window focus gives the focus to the current selected window. Now you can just save it and run this again. It will again go to gmail.com and will gonna maximize this window. Alright, now after maximizing this window, what I need to do, I need to get this title from this page. Title as in Gmail, email from Google. Now to get the title, we have a method that is selenium.getTitle. Now if you search the same method over here, that is getTitle, so you can see this method it actually returns the title of the current page. So if you search for this method over here, it gets the title of the current page. So when you'll say selenium.getTitle, now if you want to print this title, you can simply put it inside system.out.println. You'll just save it, run this, and it will again go to Gmail. And now if you take a look over here, then Gmail email from Google has been printed, right? So later on we're going to see how we can validate this title, and we can compare it with the expected title. So that all validation we're going to see later on, right? So first of all, we'll see how to access other methods available in the default Selenium class. Now after this, what I want to do, I need to validate these elements available on the page. So elements as in if I want to validate whether this image exists on a page or not, or whether these buttons, these text boxes exist on a page or not. And my second scenario would be I need to enter username, I need to enter password, I need to click on sign in, and I need to capture the screenshot of this page. So let's say how we're gonna do all these things in order to locate element. In order to work on these elements, I first need to locate these elements on the page. Now, how to locate these elements? If you guys have worked on other paid tools like QTP, so QTP provides object spy. So wherever you take the object spy, you get the property of that particular element. And same thing we are going to do in Selenium as well, with the help of some plugins available in Firefox, that is Firebug and Firepath. So this is the next prerequisite that we need to have: Firebug and Firepath. These are basically add-ons to Firefox. So first of all, we need to download Firebug, and then we need to download Firepath, because Firebug is an add-on to Firefox and Firepath is an add-on to Firebug, right? So where you can get it, you can go to Google and just type download Firebug. You'll go to this website, and here you can see the option add to Firefox. So you click on this, and the Firebug will be added to your Firefox. And after downloading Firebug, the next tool you need to download is Firepath, right? So this is the Firepath, and this is an add-on to Firebug, right? So once you download it, I've already downloaded it. So installing is very easy. It will be added automatically as soon as you click on it. So you go to tools and you get an option Firebug over here, and you click on open Firebug by just clicking on this or by clicking on F12. So as soon as you click this, you get some window like this, right? Now this is a inspect element tool available. You click over here, and wherever you take your mouse, you will get something written inside this. Now this is actually called the XPath of this element. Now XPath is nothing, it's just the property of this element. XPath is built with some of the property of this element. It could be a ID, it could be a type, a name, or it could be a actual location of this element on this web page, right? So we need this XPath to locate this element on the web page. There are other elements that we can also use, like CSS, and so if you click over here, you can see the option CSS. If you can locate this element, you will get some value like this. This is basically a CSS of this element, and there are many other ways to generate CSS and XPath as well. So we have a topic covered on this in detail, like how XPath works and how CSS works, and which one is better, and which to use in your project, whether to use XPath or whether to use CSS, right? So for the timing, we'll start with XPath, and we'll see this we call as a relative XPath, and I'll just copy this XPath, and what I need to do, I need to type inside this input box, right? So for typing, I'll say Selenium dot type. So as soon as I press enter, you can see this type accepts 2 arguments. Now this method accepts 2 arguments. What are these 2 arguments? Again, the answer is in Selenium HU Java docs. So if you search for the method type, you'll find these 2 arguments over here. So one is your locator. Locator is, it sets the value of an input field, as though you typed in. So type method will gonna type it inside this input field. The first argument is it accepts is a locator, and the second argument it accepts as a value. So locator is your XPath. The XPath will give in the double quotes like this, and the value again we need to give it in double quotes like Raman at way2automation.com. Right? So I'll just save it and run it, and as soon as I run it, this will going to open Gmail and will going to print the username inside that input box, right? And same way I can enter the password as well. So for entering the password, I need to get the XPath of this password field. I'll just copy the XPath and then I'll say selenium.type. Again, two arguments, one is your locator and the second one is the value for the password, right? And after this, what I need to do, I need to click on sign in. So again, I'll take the XPath of sign in, I'll copy this XPath. So before dot, you need to copy everything. You do not need to copy this dot, otherwise the XPath will not gonna work. So before dot, you need to copy everything, and to click on an element, there is another straightforward method, that is selenium.click. So you can see how simple the methods are in Selenium RC. So this is not the case with WebDriver. WebDriver architecture is a bit complex as compared to Selenium RC. Right? So in Selenium RC, the methods are very straightforward. All the methods are just implemented in one class. Whereas in Selenium, in WebDriver, you'll find methods in different classes, and you'll find so many interfaces as well over there, because WebDriver is completely object oriented, right? So for WebDriver, your core Java concept should be very strong in case you're working with WebDriver, right? So over here you'll say selenium.click. Selenium.click also accepts one argument, and which is that argument? Again, you take a look at the click method over here. So click method is here. It clicks on a link button, checkboxes, or a radio button, and it accepts one argument, that is the locator on which you want to click. You can give the locator like this and just save it and run it again. And now let's see, it will again go to Gmail, entered username, password, and then clicked on sign in, right? So now after clicking on sign in, we got this message over here, the message that username, password you entered is incorrect. Now how to validate? I mean, I just want to get this username or password you entered is incorrect out of this page. So what I'll do, every element you'll get some you'll get some XPath or some property associated to that element. So what you'll do, you'll again I'll just type username, password, click on sign in, and I'll just take my inspect element to this. So I'll get the XPath for this element as well, right? Now what I'll do with this element, I'll just say selenium dot, what I need to do, I need to get the text from this element. So what I've seen, when I was getting the title, the method starts from get title, and now I am getting the text. So the method starts from get text, and it accepts one argument, that is your locator, and this is your locator. Now again, you can print it like this, or you can store it inside a variable string text equal to this and then print it. Now what is the benefit of storing it inside a variable? This is because you can use this text anywhere else to compare it with the value, with the expected value you have kept, that is inside your Excel sheet or from your database. You can get that value and you can compare it with the actual value that we got it from the website, right? So I'll just save it and run it again. Now if you take a look at your console, you will going to get an error over here. So you can see that the error is element this is not found. Why this element is not found? But we have seen it over here, the element was there. So this is just because of the page synchronization issue. See, earlier when you see over here, the element is not present over here, right? When you type username, when you type password, and when you hit sign in, so the page sorry, okay, I've gone to the wrong page. So when you enter username, when you enter password and click on sign in, so it takes couple of seconds to display this message over here. It takes couple of milliseconds actually, right? So what you need to do, you need to apply some wait over here before finding this element. So the one way of doing is that you can use thread.sleep. This is basically a Java class. Well, we should avoid using thread.sleep. If I give the thread.sleep as 1 second, what it will gonna do, it will gonna halt my execution for 1 second. And let's say if the element takes more than 1 second to load, and if I give the time as 10 seconds, so this 10 second is the minimum time it will gonna wait, right? So let's say if the element, if I have given the wait sleep time as 10 seconds and the element is visible in just 2 seconds, then it will still gonna wait for 10 seconds to display the result, to locate that element. So we should avoid using, some people use this thread.sleep, but we should avoid using this thread.sleep. Instead of this, we have another method, that is selenium.wait for page to load. And in this I can give my wait time, let's say 50,000 milliseconds, which is equal to the 50 seconds. Now this will not going to wait for 50 seconds. 50 seconds is the maximum time it should wait for the page to load. If the page is loaded in just 1 second, it will gonna locate that element in that particular second. So if I run this again, and now if you take a look over here in your console, you will see that the username or password you entered is incorrect, has been printed. Alright, so this is the benefit of using wait for page to load. Now what you can do, I mean, you can create another variable, that is string, you can say expected equal to this, right? And the actual you got it from this, so you can give this name, instead of text I can give it actual, right? Now what I want to do, I want to compare these two things, right? You can suppose that this we have got from the Excel sheet, right? The expected value we have stored it in the Excel sheet. Later on, I mean, we're gonna see how to read and write values from my Excel. So if you go to my website, you can see that we have already covered the Excel reading topics. So you will find it in the Java videos as well. So over here, you can see that we have done the Excel reading. Plus we have used them in our frameworks as well. So you will be very much clear on how to use this Excel reading concept, right? So now there are two ways of doing it. Either you can use a if-else condition. You can say if actual dot equals expected, right? Then print pass, else print fail. right? So if I save this and run this again, and if you take a look over here, it has printed it as pass, right? But this is not the way we will be using it. We will be using these things, we will be using the comparison things with the help of assertions, which are provided by JUnit and TestNG, right? Now these assertions will help us in reporting the errors if there are any, right? Because with the help of if-else condition we cannot report the errors, right? So instead of using this if-else, if I want to compare it using the assertions, so how will I write this? I'll say assert dot assert equals. So there is a method assert equals, and you can see all these data types available over here. So you're gonna use the data type that is string actual and expected. Now when you run this, so in case of pass it will not going to do anything. So in case of pass it will not going to do anything, whereas in case of a failure it will gonna report that failure, right? So let's say if I run this again, and now if we take a look over here, you can see that it has not printed anything, right? So if I just remove something from here, and now this will not gonna match. Now expected will not gonna match with actual. And now if I run this again, and now if you take a look at the console, you'll see some error over here, which is an assertion error, that expected was this but found this, right? So this is how you're gonna do the comparison. There are so many assertions that we're gonna see them in detail, right? And after this, what I want to do, I want to capture a screenshot of this page, right? So what I'll do after this, I'll say Selenium dot capture screenshot, and here I'll give some location where I need to store the screenshot. So location I'll give it as C drive. Let's say I'll store it over here, C drive. I have a folder screenshot. Inside this screenshot folder I'll give the folder screenshot name as let's say C drive. The path is, I'll just copy the path from here and write it over here, screenshot, and the screenshot name is, let's say, selenium.jpg, right? And now you can see some errors over here. This is because in Java we need to write the path with double backslash, right? So I'll just save it and run this again. And now if we take a look at the screenshot folder, so this is the screenshot that got generated, right? So this is the screenshot of the current page, the current available area that got generated, right? So but I mean this we have captured it after a particular step. We will going to capture a screenshot in case of an error. So this is not how we're gonna capture it. So that we're gonna deal in our module. I have already covered over here capture screenshot in case of an error. So we're gonna see in this, right? So then I'll say Selenium. I can also start my Selenium server from the code itself. So let's say if I have started from here, I can just close this Selenium server and I can start this. How to close the server? Just press Control C, Control and C, right? So it will be stopped, and now I need to start it from here. So I'll call the class for Selenium server, that is Selenium server. I'll create an object that is server equal to create an object of this class, new Selenium server, and I need to call a method that is server.start. And after this I need to import the exception that is defined inside this class, and after this I'll say Selenium dot close. This will going to close my current window. Then Selenium dot stop. This will gonna stop. This will gonna kill the current Selenium session. And if I'm starting the server from the command, sorry, from the code itself, then I need to stop the server as well. So I'll say server dot stop. So I'll stop the server as well from here. Now I'll just save it, and if I run this now, you can see that the server is now started from the console window, right? So now it will do everything and will quit after the completion of the test, right? So this is how, you can see that how simply we have automated a small application, that is gmail.com. We have entered username and password, and you can see there is no need of record and play. So without using IDE, we have called all the methods inside the default Selenium class. We have used various methods, and we have automated a small Gmail application page using the default Selenium methods. And we have also done some validation with the help of core Java logics. So it's very, very simple, and it's very interesting. The only thing that you need to do is to practice whatever taught, because Selenium only requires practice. It cannot be spoon fed. It can only come with the practice that you're gonna do, right? So that's all we're gonna do inside this module. Rest we're gonna cover in the other modules. So you'll see step by step things that we're gonna do. We're gonna discuss about the XPath in depth, what are partial XPath, what are full XPath, how to create our own XPath. What if my application does not support Firefox? Then I will not gonna have the tools Firebug and Firepath available. How can I find XPath in Chrome, and how can I find XPath in IE? So we will gonna cover all these things in detail. Plus we're gonna see how to handle each and every element on a web page. So if you are able to handle all the elements on a web page, you can easily automate any web-based application, right? Because Selenium is a very powerful API, right? So that's all for now. So we'll meet again. Thanks a lot for your time. Bye.